So, Todd versus Happy, Last Refuge, one of my favorite maps, if not my favorite map. Not for balance reasons, because I don't think it gives a particular advantage to human, but simply because I like how the map is designed, how the creeps are designed, how the shops are designed. I just love this map. I think it has a little bit of everything. You get the mercenary camp, you get the goblin laboratory, you get the easy expansion, and you have a lot of gold mines, you have a lot of juicy camps, so you can creep up your heroes. You can do anything on this map, and yet the map is pretty small. It's not like a huge map like Twisted Meadows, so it's a relatively small map, but where you can do a lot of different strategies because of the amount of the gold mines. So very happy that they actually put this map on ladder. So much fun to play on this map. So Happy is opening with a fast crypt, followed by, fast altar followed by crypt. Then we have obviously Ziggurat and the late graveyard, so he's going to play some ghouls, maybe with some late fiends, and standard opening for Todd with archmage, so no MK, nothing fancy, even though MK is pretty common, but I believe, I don't know if I ever saw Todd playing an MK on this map. He plays a lot of Mountain King on Nico Isles, I think. Not too much, but sometimes. But generally speaking, anytime I see him play, most of the time he plays archmage, which is what most humans do, especially Chinese humans. I can't even recall the last time where I saw TH, for example, playing a Mountain King or even Infi. They pretty much all play archmage, and I'm not sure why, because even though the archmage is great for creeping, in the late game it kind of falls off, and if you can get Mountain King to level 5, it helps you a lot in those fights where you have to nuke heroes, and of course it's more tanky than the archmage. So Happy moving with his acolyte and his death knight and 2 skeletons, trying to delay Todd's expansion, and succeeding so far. This is already bad for the human. You want to go straight to this camp and creep it, but Happy is buying a lot of time, just purely being annoying. What I like about Todd is always placing those farms all around the map, so he's got a lot of vision, but... Oh, he's getting level 2, so that's pretty good. I believe he still didn't lose any militia. Gonna lose his first peasant right now. Oh, the ensnare. Yeah, but this camp's got ensnare, so you kind of have to expect that. And interestingly, Happy chooses to go for the creep instead of going for the peasant. And now has to retreat because he can't exchange too many hits. His death knight is already on the orange side, and you don't have any means to heal up the death knight, the tier 1, so you want to preserve as many HP as you can. The question is he going to push with couple fiends like he usually does, or is going to go full ghouls? Looks like he's building his first fiend, so it's gonna be fiends. However, Todd is well on his way towards level 3, and this creep route actually works in his favor because he postpones the expansion, but he was able to creep the expo spot without being harassed. So the question is, will he now be allowed to reach level 3? He should, because he's got a lot of footmen. We only have 1 fiend and 2 skeletons coming, so I don't know what Happy can do here. Not too much, except buying a little bit of time. I'm not even sure if he's gonna get a single peasant, maybe one, thanks to the coil. This peasant should fall, and yes, it does. Maybe he's gonna get even another one. If he can get two, it's gonna be decent, but no. Good defense by Todd, who reaches level 3 and expands by taking relatively low damage, but keep in mind that even though the Aras was not that strong, Happy buy a lot of time because his tier 2 is already gonna be finishing, yeah. Leech is almost finished, so this expo is pretty late for Todd, and as soon as the Leech is on the field, Happy shouldn't be losing any single unit. Actually, it didn't lose any single unit so far, but with the Leech on the field, it should be able to kill stuff without losing anything. So you will see that it's probably gonna do a lot of damage to Todd's army just with these 3 units. 3 Fiends, 1 Death Knight, and 1 Lich can do a lot of damage. The only problem is this Death Knight is ridiculously low in terms of experience, only level 1, so we don't even have the aura. So that's kind of bad. If he loses this Fiend, it's very bad. We already have defend for Todd, so looks like this early game for Todd is one of the best early games I've seen him have against Happy. Like Happy's Fiend's HP is very low, and now he's being pushed back and he can't do anything. This expansion is going to be going up without any problems, so, and tech has already started, so perfect, I would say, early game for Todd. The question is, will he be able to transition into a successful mid and late game? Because undeads have many tools to apply damage with a few vegans, few fiends. As soon as we have the orb, the human can't basically do anything anymore on the map. So Happy is buying time, he's waiting for the orb, he's using the healing of the statues, patiently kiting, maybe getting 1 footman here. And I don't know why Todd keeps being aggressive. I think anytime I see Todd playing against Happy, he has a pretty decent early game, and then he tries to go to Happy's base, but Happy is always in position. In other words, it's a standard to go into the undead base and do damage. That's what you should do as a human, but normally you want to do that when the undead is creeping. So if the undead is creeping somewhere on the map, you can use the time to harass the acolytes, to harass the ghouls. But the problem is that when I see Todd playing against Happy, Happy is never creeping. Happy is always in position. He's either harassing or he is defending his base. So it feels like Todd goes there but doesn't achieve anything because there's Happy is occupying that position. So my question is, my thought is maybe you could use the time to creep this camp instead of even going to the undead base, because there's no point. He just loses footmen when he goes there because you can't micro against 2 statues. The undead is never gonna lose any fiends. I mean, the average undead is gonna lose something, but not Happy. Happy isn't going to lose any single fiend here, so why not going to creep here? Of course, he doesn't want to do that because he thinks if I go to creep, then Happy is going to creep jack me. But at some point I think you have to do something different, because if you have tried to push the undead base and it never works because Happy is always in position, at some point you have to do something different. If you keep doing the same thing, it's not gonna work. So and I think this is not even the hard part, because The hardest part is to keep the undead out of your range when you're creeping, and the human did a very good job here doing that. That's the hard part, to limit the damage that you take when the undead is harassing you. Because Happy didn't achieve too much in the early game. He got like 2 peasants, but that's it. Still level 1. So the early game was great. The hard part of the game was great for the human. But this part of the game, I think, is what it's the tricky point for this Todd versus Happy matchup. This is where Happy usually starts to gain the lead. This is where the human stops accomplishing and where Happy starts accomplishing more. While normally we see humans doing a lot of damage in the base, but Happy places his building perfectly. Like even if you enter this base with 1 Nerubian tower, soon there's going to be a spirit tower, you're going to lose everything. So I think maybe just play defensive and don't do anything. Force the undead to pressure you next to your towers or go creeping. Maybe place a footman here. You could place a footman here, see if he's coming, and try to creep this camp. Maybe creeping this camp is a bad idea because this camp is terrible. Like you take way too much damage, and this camp is also terrible. You take way too much damage, so you can potentially lose the game straight off if you creep those camps. So, but if taking this camp is too much of a risk and pushing here is wasted time because he knows it's wasted time because Happy is always in position, then what would you do? How would you use that segment of time? Would you stay at base? Would you take the risk of creeping this camp? Or would you waste your time and a couple of footmen, if not more, trying to chase Happy's fiends? That's the question. So I think that's what Todd needs to figure out when he plays against Happy. Even though it's not game deciding or anything, but it's just a little touch that maybe could give him the edge in the mid game. And of course it's map related. On another map maybe there's some camps that he could creep. I'm thinking about Twisted Meadows. On this map there aren't really many options because he can't creep anything else than this camp here. Or simply camp at base. So maybe camping at base could be the solution. But I like what both players are doing here. Todd is not losing anything. Okay, 1 footman, but it's not too terrible. Happy, of course, is not losing anything because as an undead you can't lose a single unit here. Maybe Todd should retreat right now. You don't want to trade. He's gonna feed all of his footmen. Yeah. I feel like it's starting to look bad for Todd here. This is the part where Happy is clearly taking the lead. Look at what he's doing. He's trading hits for kills. So he's just absorbing a few hits, which is going to repair easily with the statues, and he's getting the kills. And now he's got 2 destroyers out of nowhere, and that's his level 2. And now Todd is not in trouble because keep in mind he's got towers, so these 2 destroyers will never break the space. But all of his footmen are gone. Of course, you are very happy to trade those footmen to get your towers up. It's fine because footmen don't really give too much XP, so you can see this Death Knight is still level 2 barely, but Leech is almost level 2 as well. The problem is that when you lose all of your footmen like this, your potential for surroundings is decreased because then you have to rely on militia for that, and also your potential for creeping is decreased. So Todd is now going for a double Arcane Sanctum because he wants to have mass breakers as soon as possible. So still, despite the footman loss, is in a pretty decent position. If he gets the workshop out in time, he's going to be able to get rid of the destroyers. The question is, will Happy stay purely on fiends and destroyers, maybe with a few A-bombs, or is he going to go for wagons? He's got double slaughterhouse, so this could mean mass destroyers. It could also mean a mix of destroyers and A-bombs. You can never know, since the undead basically produces every valuable unit from the slaughterhouses. The good thing for the human is that the hero levels for the undead are very low, so the archmage isn't in any trouble.
Our forces are under attack.
And we already have 3 guard towers protecting the main as well, and 3 destroyers can't break this.
Summoning is complete.
Maybe if the Death Knight was level 4 and the Leech was 3, you could try to break that, but so far pretty neat play by both players. Like I said before, as a human, if you can get such an early start, that's pretty decent. Like, you wish that every early game was like that. But now, this is the hard part. To create an army that can actually fight against the undead. Or maybe is he going to go tanks? I don't know. He's going tier 3, but I don't know what his army composition will be, since it's the first time I see this replay. So
Our forces are under attack.
4 destroyers right now. Oh my god, I think he can break this. Can he break this? He should, because only 3 towers left. And we have a panda. Mountain King is only level 1, so he's not gonna do anything. But nice mass repair by Todd, well done. Good reaction time. He's gonna be able to save this tower, and all of the destroyers are already red, so looks like Todd is gonna stay alive here. And that was key, because if Happy breaks this base, it's GG. But he didn't.
Our forces are under attack.
He didn't break it. And now even TP forced, because the creep jack is coming, so this undead needs healing desperately. Panda is so low, and of course it can't be called. Happy doesn't want to give the camp to Todd, but he has to. 70 supply for the undead. Huge commitment to destroyers. So destroyers was in the end. Todd is sitting at 48 food, and looks like he's going for a mix of priests and breakers. Maybe he's gonna add rifles then, I don't know. I don't see a blacksmith. I don't see workshop, I don't see Gryphon either, so I don't know what Todd is planning to produce, because his army doesn't have any damage output for the time being, except water elementals, who are going to be easily dispelled by all of those destroyers, so forget about water elementals, they're useless. Happy is going for the red camp here, and I feel like Todd should go for the red camp as well right now. Of course, It's creeping the laboratory, which is kind of the logic thing to do. So you get access to zappers, shredder. You want this camp to be cleaned up, so at some point you have to creep this camp. But at the same time, Happy took the red camp, and you don't want your opponent to ever take both of the red camps, because as I always say, usually when you or your opponent gets both of the red camps, it's GG for the player who gets them, unless you have like 3 bases and your opponent got like 1 or 2. Even if he creeps both of the red camps, you might still win the game thanks to the economic advantage. But if the economy is similar, usually the player who gets the better camps, the better experience and the better items will win the game. That's just the rule. So looks like Todd is banking a lot. Staying at 50, he wants to explode with his army all at once. He's now finally winning a blacksmith and double Griffin Ever. So it's gonna be Griffins for DPS against the heroes, I guess. But this undead army is scary, and looks like Happy wants to fight right now, and Todd is not ready at all. Paladin is not out yet. Of course, getting this camp is gonna be very important. Breakers are great to creep this camp, because keep in mind we have Bloodlust, so if you have breakers, you're going to be able to steal this Bloodlust very easily and use it to your own advantage. Four towers left, 3, but I'm afraid this is too much. I think like Todd wanted to stay in no upkeep, but maybe waited too much. Should have built more stuff earlier. And now there's nothing against the destroyers. I mean,
Our forces are under attack.
I think he had all the time in the world to get a workshop, and should already have like 8, 10 gyrocopters. It stayed a lot at 50 for some reason, which is good for your economy, but it's bad if your opponent pushes you. And Happy is just a master at reading those timings. Happy will always look for timings, so you can't hope to play against Happy and just go to creep and it lets you creep peacefully.
Ready to work.
So I don't know what Todd can now do to counter those destroyers. I mean, the problem is always the same, how to counter destroyers. And I think the solution is only one. Let's get double workshop and mass gyrocopters. Maybe he didn't scout all of those destroyers. Maybe he thought it was some kind of wagon push, and that's why he went for breakers and griffins. This could be an explanation, because this army that Todd has would be very good against wagons, because griffins destroy wagons, breakers help you to stay alive, they're like mid shield, but this army doesn't do anything against destroyers. Of course, breakers don't take damage from destroyers, but griffins can't attack them because they have a magic damage, and destroyers are magic immune. So I feel like if Todd had some kind of anti-air, he could have a chance in this game, but right now it looks pretty rough, to say the least. But maybe he can still pull it off, let's see. Hero levels can't carry him because Mountain King is not level 3. Paladin is barely level 1, but if Happy overextends next to these towers, Todd could still take a good fight. So let's see if Happy is smart and moves away from the towers. I think he's out of range right now. Good job by Todd bolting the Death Knight, but again, you see. Okay, Mountain King is level 3, so that's why all of that damage.
Upgrade complete. Our forces are under attack.
So Panda's level 4 already, so maybe that's why you don't go Gyrus. But even if you don't go Gyrus, I mean, you have at some point you have to take a bet, okay? He had the time to get 12 gyrocopters. If he gets 12 gyrocopters, or maybe even 15, you can easily afford that with 2 bases, and the Panda can never kill all of them just with one breath, because there's a limited amount of units that you can hit. Of course, you have to pay attention and split them, because if you put them all together, then the Panda will hit all of them with the breath, but if you split them, it won't. And you try to just reduce the amount of destroyers that are on the field. You try to trade to get some experience. Leaving the destroyers untouched, it's very dangerous. And the problem is that Happy is also expanding here, so he's now 4, 4, 4. So as soon as he gets level 5, it's GG. Because at that point, the human can never take a fight again.
I smell magic in the air.
Happy didn't see the zapper over there. If he sees the zapper, oh my god!
Upgrade complete.
And that's some gold gone for nothing. Todd is trying to see if Happy has another expansion, or maybe just wants to creep. But I'm afraid this paladin is never gonna reach level 3. And Happy is also going to steal the gargantual sea turtle here. He has map control, because the human can never fight. Maybe, if Todd succeeded sniping all of these two camps here, he's going for the gargantuan, which has the highest experience, so that's right. So they're both stealing each own gargantuan.
Research complete.
But again, I don't understand why Todd is staying at 50. He wants to bank gold and creep at the same time. So strategically it's good, but at the same time it exposes you, because anytime you engage with Happy, you're going to lose everything, and it's not like you cannot avoid engaging. Now he's using Town Portal, so he wants to dodge this fight, and he wants to bank even more gold. Paladin is level 2, maybe wants to get level 3 by sniping acolytes. The problem is those 2 towers will do a lot of damage to those griffins. And Happy is already here, so another Town Portal is gonna come. Is he gonna get the gold mine? Nice staff. Town Portal is gonna lose 1 griffin, I'm afraid. Yeah. That's so hard right now. Maybe he's waiting to have 3k gold to then explode into either tanks or gyrocopters, but at some point you have to make some kind of anti-air. He's retraining to Blizzard right now, which is the right thing to do, because water elementals don't do anything against mass destroyers.
Forces are under attack.
And while Happy has is not even mass destroyers, it's a deadly combo of fiends, destroyers and abomination, which is probably the ultimate undead army. Like, he has a little bit of everything. He has Panda, he has mid shield with the abominations, he has damage with the destroyers and the fiends and the heroes. Like, this army is so hard to fight. Mountain King is being focused already, he's gonna fall if there's not another holy light, but the town portal comes in time. As we see the undead reigning supreme with 80 foot, while Todd is still at 50 again. Now he's finally breaking upkeep, going for mass Gryphon Averies, mass Drogonox, but I'm afraid it's too late. I think the right thing to do was to go mass Copters. I'm not saying he's going to win with that. There was a time in this game where he could have massed a bigger army than Happy did, or at least equal the size, and then try to go for a fight. Because at this point in the game, all of these units that he has they're not going to do anything. Dragonos don't do anything to destroyers. To kill like 5 destroyers you need to have 12 Dragonos or something like that. Maybe 10 depending on the hero levels that you have. I feel like the only thing that does damage to the destroyers is gyrocopters. Of course, they're bad against Panda, they're bad against fiends. It's true, but it's the only thing you can do, okay? If you fail with gyrocopters, there's nothing you can do. For sure, Griffons and Dragonos don't do anything against destroyers. Now we even have anti-magic shell, so this army is literally undefeatable. I can go AFK right now and I already know how this fight is going to end, because this undead army is undefeatable. We even have gargoyles. He has everything. He has everything. Like, this is the ultimate army. 5 destroyers that can't be killed by anything, heroes that can't be killed by anything, fiends that can't be killed by anything because the Griffons will die before they can put some DPS. And let's take a look at this fight. I'm predicting the slaughter. Breakers are falling, not a single destroyer is falling, 1 statue is falling, all of the 5 destroyers are still alive, and human can't kill them. Archmage falls. 55 supply for Todd, still 82 for Happy, who didn't lose any single unit except for the statue. And Todd says nice matchup. And that's but that's obvious. And that's how it feels when you try to fight destroyers with Dragonos who don't do absolutely anything to destroyers. But